Get it?
Hello, Ehud. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good. So let's get right to it. I know you're quite been quite busy in the last weeks. First question: what is your analysis of President Morsi's power grab? Is that going to sustain itself? What will be in Egypt in the short run?
I think in Egypt, what you are seeing in work is what I call squareocracy, the rule of the square. It's not going away because a Muslim brother has become the president of Egypt and is trying to become the next pharaoh by issuing a decree which immunizes any decision he takes from any scrutiny by the courts or anybody else. I think President Morsi is totally stunned by the reaction he has been getting from the Egyptian street all over the country, not just Cairo, by all other political parties in Egypt, and by the judiciary, which in Egypt, people tend to forget it, has a long tradition of independence and impartiality. And this is why, as we speak now, Morsi is beginning to back down. He's trying to make partial concessions, and I think most probably they will work out some sort of a compromise which will instruct Morsi that he is not a new dictator and will encourage the opposition to the Muslim Brothers to challenge him on many, many other issues.
That would seem to give an indication that the outside world has little or nothing to add to this situation. Is he subject to some pressure from President Obama?
Or yes, if the US administration decides that they have to reach an agreement with President Morsi of a few very, very important issues, it will have a major impact on him. Let me put it very bluntly. Mr. Morsi is asking now for something between 11 and 12 billion dollars from the US, from the International Monetary Fund, and from the Development Bank of the European Union. Without this money, Egypt is bankrupt. As simple as that. Now, the question is whether Washington is saying to Mr. Morsi, okay, we will try to go ahead with your requests, but you have to pay attention to preservation of the peace treaty with Israel. You have to do something about terrorism nesting in the Sinai Peninsula. You have to make sure women's rights are protected in Egypt. You have to make sure that you don't try to become, as he does, a new pharaoh in Egypt, etc. To the best of my knowledge, these conditions or these requests were not made so far forcefully enough to the Egyptian president.
So that President Obama actually has tremendous leverage, potentially, if he decides to actually use it.
So far, to the best of my information, and as you know, Abe, I spent many weeks lately in Washington, there was no inclination by the Obama administration to apply some mild pressure to Morsi on his conduct both at home and on the foreign policy front. I think what he tried to do over the weekend, which is to put himself above the law, as simple as that, was something on which he had to get a telephone call from your ambassador, Ann Peterson, to say to him, well, this is not what we understood. We Americans understood to be the state of the play. I think that partly he has made this move, trying to immunize himself from any criticism, scrutiny by other bodies in Egypt, because he was not getting the right signals from Washington.
Let's shift over to the just completed latest round between Israel and Hamas. who won? What price did Hamas actually pay on the ground? And how long will this ceasefire or hudna last?
Okay. I would say one. There is a strong chance that we will have an extended period of ceasefire now because of the beating Hamas had to suffer from the Israeli Air Force, and because Egypt, President Morsi, is making it clear to Hamas that they don't want any flare-up on the border. And that has a tremendous impact on Hamas. This is one. Second, I think the Israelis never intended earnestly to go for a ground offensive against Hamas for a variety of reasons. One of them was pressure from the US not to move to the ground phase of the operation. Second is considerations about the northern front, whether Hizbollah will intervene or not. And then the question is whether you have enough Iron Dome batteries and enough missiles to intercept. So we had a situation in which basically the defense minister, Barak, and the IDF top command felt after the third day that enough is enough. Hamas had their beating, and we can expect a long-term ceasefire. Now, who won? Since the stated declared objective of the operation was to achieve an extended ceasefire, then Israel has obtained its goal, because most likely there will be an extended ceasefire. The only thing I'm worried about now is the fact that Israel is allowing people from the Gaza Strip, including Hamas operatives, to get very close to the border fence. This is a temptation for them. It's a temptation to try to make a quick run and kidnap somebody. And I'm not entirely convinced now that it was indeed necessary to make this arrangement a part of the ceasefire deal.
Why was Hezbollah quiet during these weeks?
Hezbollah is extremely preoccupied by the situation in Syria, which from their point of view is worsening. I was watching just an hour ago, Abe, pictures of 16 military helicopters being demolished underground by the rebels, not far from the capital, Damascus. Hezbollah has taken upon themselves to protect the Syrian-Lebanese border and try to prevent smuggling of weapons to the rebels from Lebanon, which is taking place quite a lot. They are not in the mood now to take Israel. And I think what we see is that the deterrence achieved by Israel in a war which was not highly successful in 2006 is still working. So Nasrallah, he was speaking this morning as well, keeps talking about how many missiles he has and how he can cover the whole territory of Israel. But he doesn't come to the rescue of Hamas, and everybody notices this.
Last question. Some months ago, you told the people from the Simon Wiesenthal Center that Syria was going to be a slow-motion, bloody civil war. Do you see any timetable for the end of this civil war and what the outcome would be?
I think it's going to take time. It's true that President Assad's position is not improving, to use an understatement, but at the same time it's true that the opposition is very fragmented, in many ways ineffective. So I don't see any quick decision in Syria. What I see at this point, and I've been wrong in the past, I can be wrong again. What I see is the steady, slow, consistent disintegration of Syria. Syria is simply imploding unto itself.
Okay, we lost you.
Basically divided to 4, 5, maybe 6 different entities and not functioning anymore as a single state.
Thank you, Ehud. I know you've had a long day and a long couple of weeks. We're very grateful for your graciousness and your input.
Thank you, Abe.
Good night.
Bye.